Hey guys, and welcome back to Heroes of Might and Magic 4. As always, I'm Demon593, and last time we saved our master Calabar from the hell dimension thing place. And today we start the points of power. In an attempt to restore his master's power, Goldoth sets out to do the impossible, activate all 5 points of power. But this isn't the best time to be away from home with the kingdom of Necros in the middle of a demon rebellion. Victory condition flag, 5 points of power. Loss, lose, Goldoth, half dead. Goldoth and all of his spells, skills, and experience will transfer to the next map. All of your heroes have a maximum level of 24.
Can't everyone see the inherent goodness in destruction? Or the evil in creation?
I don't know.
A forest cannot live without the nutrients provided by the destructive force of a forest fire.
Correct.
And if I am wrong, then why is the lifeblood of creation water the most destructive force on the planet?
Fair point. So, points of power, like what? We're talking like, Captain Planet? Fire, water, earth, air, and heart? Or something? Like a son proudly displaying his achievements to his father, I walked Calabar around my capital city, Necrom. I showed him the vast crypts beneath the city where bodies from all over Necros were stored in chambers, kept cool by ice, a far easier task now that ice demons had joined us. At a moment's notice, my necromancers could raise them all to form a tremendous army. At last count, there were nearly 3,000 corpses down there, and in case of emergencies, the living population of Necrom could be killed to give us over 6,000 undead defenders. Calabar commented that my mage guild was no comparison to the old necromantic order, but he had not seen how far it had come in such a short time. It was growing, despite the fact that most people fear necromancers so much that they never dream of becoming one. I was finally getting volunteers since I offered monetary incentives to families who surrendered any child below the age of 6 for necromantic instruction. With my master's help, the Mage Guild would certainly rival even the necromantic order someday. It's all yours, I told my master when we completed the tour. Master Calabar was silent for some time. He leaned on me for support, still too weak to exert himself for any length of time, and said, "It's a start." That was 4 months ago. And yet I still don't have Calabar as an actual playable hero. Helping me out at all. No, that would be too good, huh? Can't get Burrowing Mound? That's kind of stupid. Let's get the tavern then, so we can get the vampires. Because why would we ever want to get slimes? It was a waste of a unit in this game, I feel like. Alright, let's begin exploring. Potion of Endurance. Do you want to join me? Let them run. Bastards. Okay. Sure. Of course. Can we get the mansion? Do we have anybody good? Wait, I recognize that one. Hold on. Charna. Yeah, let's get Charna. Where'd he go? Hold on. Months of tension between the Kriegans and the undead culminated last night in a riot that destroyed half of Necrom. My master was still too weak to deal with the rebellious demons and devils, and perhaps that was the reason for the uprising. I think they sensed his weakness, and if those creatures respect anything, it is strength. This clash was bound to happen, and word has been coming in from other parts of the kingdom about devils seizing several of our towns as their own. Necros has fallen into chaos. The only good news is the dissenters have not yet organized under a single leader. When they do, we'll be doomed. This wouldn't have happened if you had been king, Mordor told me as we walked along Necrom's outer wall. If Mordor had been a solid being, I would have slapped him. Instead, I grabbed the cloak he insisted on wearing and threw it over the wall to the ground far below. Say that again, and I will order you to swim in holy water. Apologies, my master. Calabar is our king and master. This rebellion is a coincidence, I stated. Yes, master. I ordered Mordor to execute all the imps and demons caught during the riots. Their devil leaders escaped. Do it at the center of town in front of the rest of their kind. That should be a lesson to them. They must know that Master Calabar is still in charge. Leaving Mordor on the wall, I returned to my master's dusty study in the dim corridors beneath the Mage Guild. Despite his weakness, he was working on some secret project. I wanted desperately to ask him what he was doing. But I had learned long ago that my master was a private man who didn't appreciate curiosity in others. When I told him about the rebellions springing up all over Necros, he didn't seem surprised. A kingdom needs a powerful leader, and my body is still weak from the spell I cast to save myself from the reckoning, Calabar admitted. This was the first time he had given me, the first hint he had given me about how he escaped and ended up in the demon realm. I will protect you until you heal, Master. I know. But I don't think I need your protection right now, he said. Lurking in every shadow of the large study was a vampire or a ghost, loyal only to Calabar. They were his personal guards. Then what can I do to help? The answer to that is an easy one. Although the application might prove difficult now that the devils have taken over part of Necros, I need you to activate the 5 points of power. I'll show you how. No one has ever been able to turn all 5 on at once. If you manage to do so, I will be able to draw enough magical energy from them to regenerate my spell-ravaged body and put those demons in their place, my master said, his skull gleaming with a lust for vengeance. At the time, I had thought his lust for vengeance was directed toward the demons. I was wrong. Oh boy. Sure. I'll fight. Oh crap. Ow. There we go. Really? You're dead, asshole. 2 ghosts and 3 slimy shits. This morning we rode into a village and found some imps terrorizing its citizens. After we quickly dealt with the foolish creatures, I ordered my troops to sweep the hamlet for dead bodies. I desperately needed more troops. When I heard terrified screams coming from one of the huts, I rushed toward the sounds, thinking that an imp had somehow escaped us. I threw open the door and found the body of a middle-aged man on the floor, his neck ripped open and bloody. The vampire Captain Enric had a beautiful young woman pinned against the back wall. He planned to feed on her as well. Enric, I shouted. My next word was a magical command that drained the strength from the vampire's body. The woman broke free from Enric's grasp and ran to the nearest corner. There was no escape since I was standing in the hut's only doorway. Enric fell to the floor and looked up at me, confused. Once again, I longed for Mordor's competence. But I had left him behind in Necrum to protect my master and command the city's forces in case the demons rioted again. Enric was a poor substitute, controlled all too easily by his hunger. I glared first at the woman, letting her know in no specific words that I didn't want her to move, and then I walked across the room to stand over Captain Enric. Why? He asked. I slapped him with all the strength in the undead half of my body. The blow might have killed a living man. You disobeyed my orders, fool. The living are not to be harmed unless I give permission. Do you remember that? I said. I had said those words before I left Necrum because I knew if I was ever going to be able to put Necros back together, I needed the living population for the mines, farms, and shops. I needed them to feel they would be safe under my rule. Without them, Necros would have no economy. Enric began groveling too quickly. He didn't understand why I was protecting a living person, only that he had made a mistake and needed to plead to my sense of mercy. This was the same man who, when alive, betrayed Mordor in exchange for a vampire's immortality. I don't know what had drawn Enric to this lifestyle, perhaps some romantic appeal, or fear of death, or just plain homicidal tendencies, but he was exactly the type of undead that I despised, witless and consumed by their own sense of evil. I grabbed Enric by his long, dark hair and dragged him outside. "Bring me 5 spears," I shouted to no one in particular. Enric screamed for forgiveness as I ordered some zombies to hold him down. I pinned his arms and legs to the ground with the spears, with the 5th spear I silenced his pitiful shouts. Of course, I hadn't killed Enric. None of these wounds were fatal to a vampire. He could survive skewered to the ground for a long time, in fact, but he wasn't going to be there for more than a few hours. To my confused troops and the frightened villagers, I said, "Captain Enric has disobeyed my order to spare the living. For that crime, he will remain the way he is for 24 hours. Any who dare remove him will not get off so easily." When daylight came, Enric was doomed. By the terrified look in his eyes, he knew it. I do not know why I returned to the hut. My troops had collected 15 bodies, and I had much work to do if I was going to make them part of the undead. Still, I felt drawn to the young woman I had saved. I found her bent over the dead man, weeping for her father. A skeleton followed me, silently awaiting my command. "Bring the woman," I told it. "Don't harm her." The skeleton stepped forward, grabbing the woman by the arm. "And you might as well add him to the other corpses," I said, pointing to the woman's dead father. Interesting. All right. Hello, you devilish bastards. You think yourself some sort of tough shit? Come on. Bye-bye. Only 23 imps, and I gained 2 vampires for that. Well, that's interesting. Gained back my imps pretty easily. What is this thing? At the back of this odd tower, you find a switch exactly where your master told you it would be. Giving it a twist, the wall opens to reveal a secret antechamber left untouched for decades. The centerpiece of the room is some sort of altar from which protrudes a gleaming green crystal the size of a man's arm. A beam pulses skyward up the entire height of the tower to a second crystal, larger even than the first, at the top of the tower. Immediately you wish you had the time to study this place. The magic at work here is incredible. You step forward, take the crystal in hand, and turn it slowly 3 times to the left. Once activated, you cast a special spell that binds the power of this ancient place to your master. Oh, it's a place of power, or point of power, or whatever. Gotcha. I kept the woman safe. I made sure she was fed. I gave her a tent and a cot of her own. Did we just meet our queen? And a living servant bought from one of the hamlets along the way. I even arranged for her to be given an elegant black dress to replace her plain blood-stained cotton smock, but she refused to wear it. But why haven't I spoken to her since the day I killed Enric? That was the question that distracted me from the ambush. We were on the road, myself at the front of the column and she at the back with the supplies, when a mixed demon force attacked. It was a well-orchestrated ambush, and might have claimed some lives if they had attacked the center of my formation. Instead, they charged directly at me. My spells weakened them, even killed a few. A single ice demon reached me, scratching deep furrows in the living flesh of my left thigh, before one of my own troops brought it down. Immediately after the battle, I sat on a rock and tore open my pants to examine the wounds. Blood had already soaked my leg and collected like water in my boot. I winced at the sight. The ice demon had cut an artery. I was probably going to bleed to death. So I laughed. I had often wondered what would happen if the living half of my body died. Would I become like a stroke victim, the left side of my body dead and motionless? Or the undead part of me die as well? I looked up at the sky and said, "So you are finally done with me, universe?" You speak to the universe? It was the woman I rescued, still dressed in her cotton tunic. Not usually, I said. I expected the day to come, but I must admit I thought it would be in a more spectacular way. Arrogance, I guess. She saw the blood seeping into the hungry ground. You bleed? How is that possible? Because I'm only half dead. Please don't ask me to explain. I'll bleed to death before I finish the story, I replied. Even though I had clamped my hand tightly over the wound, I could feel the hot blood seeping through my fingers. Let me, she said, approaching cautiously. I pulled my hand away, and a red fountain sprayed the front of the woman's clothes, mixing with the old brown stains of her father's blood. Oh my, it's deep, she said. Immediately she pressed her hand over the wounds and muttered some words of magic. I felt a strange, numbing energy flow into me. I cannot say that it felt good. In fact, I hope to never experience it again. But when the woman pulled her blood-stained hand away, my wounds were healed. She was a priest. I hadn't expected that. Our coming together couldn't be a coincidence. Thank you, I said. I am Goldo. Alana. All right, Alana. We must prove our loyalty by guarding this tower for 5 years. Upon our lives, none but those who fly the teal and purple flag will pass. Well, that's some bullshit if ever I saw some. Then I guess I'll head down this way. Instinctively, I think I knew Alana was a priest of life magic. That's why, against all common sense, I dragged her along with me. Some would say such an inspiration came from the gods, but I'm more prone to believe that my closeness to death magic allowed me to sense its opposite. After Alana saved me, I asked her to ride at the front of the column so we could talk. I still believe the secrets of the universe will be within my grasp if only I can understand the force of destruction. It's the same principle used to learn new spells. You must divide them into their parts, splitting them into pieces you can understand before you learn the spells as a whole. But it couldn't hurt to know a little something about creation as well, could it? As Mordor says, half the battle is knowing more about your enemy than they know about you, so Alana and I spent hours discussing life magic, healing, childbirth, and love. She seemed reluctant at first. She was, after all, my prisoner, even if I didn't treat her like one. But when I seemed to show a real interest in the subject, she opened up. I have never heard of someone like you, Goldo, she said. What does that mean? Well, perhaps it is because your body hasn't been completely tainted by the undead, but you seem much more sensible than other necromancers. Perhaps there's still hope for you. That's when I realized she was being friendly with me because she thought I could be converted, as if I was some sheep-brained peasant practicing the rituals of some cult. My body doesn't make me who I am, I said firmly. Maybe it wasn't completely true, but I like to think that I would be the same person whether I were only living or only undead. No, but I think it is a metaphor for your potential to turn back from this evil path you have started down. Evil path? I don't believe in such a thing. How can you not? You walk among skeletons and demons. You doom the dead to an eternity of suffering. Yet you saved my life when you didn't have to, and you still protect the living from your own troops. Can you not see the good as well as the evil that you perform? I do what is sensible. Neither good nor evil dictates my actions. Good or evil, creation or destruction. Call them by whatever name you want, Goldoth. They are the same thing, Alana said stubbornly. But you're assuming that creation is good. Of course it is. Are you telling me that when the universe created a creature consumed with hatred and destruction like a devil, that the universe committed a good act? Well, no. And why can't destruction be good? A forest fire may seem tragic at first, but that destruction only replenishes the forest floor and makes the trees grow back stronger than ever before. That's just nature. Exactly my point. The nature of the universe is indiscriminate. It doesn't judge. It doesn't care about good or evil because neither exists. Take the Reckoning, the greatest example of a destructive force that I can think of. I can argue that it probably did as much good as evil. For one, the Reckoning claimed the life of that barbarian scum Kilgore. Alana shook her head sadly as if I was a child that just didn't understand. I know that good exists, Goldoth, she said, because I see it all around me. I have seen it in you. Yep, we found our queen. I mean, once we become king, of course. Just travel there, jackass. That's all I wanted of you. Karna! It's time. These imps are gonna die, clearly. I made it up. The imp survived. I've captured Chimera. Alright.